What is the craziest thing you think you did whilst performing on stage, either personally or as a band?
Gosh, we did so many crazy things.
Yes.
We used to do, after we got together as the Tubes, we used to do shows in San Francisco. And there was, back in the 70s, there was a kind of a fad going around called streaking. I don't know if you did it in Scotland, streaking, where people would get naked and streak, and like they would do it at baseball games.
Yeah,
They would
spotting
get
a
naked
yeah.
and run across the field naked. And so we did a show at the gig, and we called it the Streakers Ball. And the idea was, if you came naked and you streaked the stage, you got in free. And we thought, oh, this is a good gimmick. There probably won't be many people. Well, we had a line outside the door of maybe 100 people standing there naked in San Francisco. And the deal was, and they would have their clothes in a paper bag. So you had to you had to streak the audience, and then you could put your clothes on. And of course, I did it twice. During our show, I stripped down completely naked and streaked the audience. So it was pretty wild, I'll tell you. And we did like a Mondo bondage show where every song was bondage, and every song was all leather and studs and belts and then one really crazy thing, when we started to get really popular in Europe, in the UK actually. Yeah. And we first went to the UK in 1977. And in fact, our manager at the time was a Welshman, a guy named Ricky Farr, who is the son of Tommy Farr, the famous heavyweight boxer from Wales. And Ricky took us to England for the first time, and we played like Hammersmith Odeon, and we played anyway, we got a gig to play the Nebworth Festival, which was a big outdoor festival. And I'm sure you've heard of Nebworth. I think they still have it. I don't know. We were on the headliner was Zappa. The headliner was Frank Zappa, and this was 1979. And Frank Zappa, and we had it was a big outdoor stage, and there was like 60, 70,000 people there. There was a whole bunch of bands on the bill, 6 or 8 bands at least on the bill. I thought Peter Gabriel was there. Bob Geldorf's band was there.
Oh, Boomtown Rats, yeah.
Yeah, Boomtown Rats, all kinds of bands. And we had this huge theatrical show planned. We had the dancers, and we had, and actually, Zappa came to us before the show, and he said, "Look, I really don't want to follow you guys. Okay, how about if you go on, you be the headliner, I'll open, and you follow me." And we went, "Well, okay, whatever you want, Frank." We were big fans of Frank Zappa. I've seen his show, gosh, 5 or 6 times back in Mothers of Invention days. And we used to do a song called "Don't Touch Me There," which I sang with Reed. And it was like, the bad boy, it was like good girls go for bad boys. And I would come I used to come on a motorcycle. I would get somebody to loan me their Harley, and I'd drive onto the stage on my Harley, and we would sing this with her sitting on the back, and we'd sing the song from the Harley, and I wear a leather jacket, and but at this gig, we thought, we need something more. So we rented a car. We built an automobile ramp to come onto the stage from stage left, and we rented this Ford Cortina, a little convertible 2-door car, and we were going to drive onto the stage and do the song in the car. Don't Touch Me There. And the choreography was, I'm on stage singing, and this was 79,
Yep.
remember? So there's no cordless microphones back then. Okay. So, and the idea was Reed comes driving the car on and parks. And then when the song starts, I jump over the passenger seat into the front seat of the car, and with my microphone, and we sing the song, "The Smell of Burning Leather," as you know. So, okay, great. And so I have a long mic cord, and I'm standing back by the drum riser. So she's going to pull on in front of me, right? And so the song starts, and she pulls up in front of me, and she parks on my mic cord. And the back right wheel was on my mic cord. And I've got, I'm like here, and I've got no length, and I'm not going to be able to jump over the car with my mic in my hand because it's stuck under the wheel, and I'm panicking, and it's getting closer and closer to the beginning of the vocal of the song, and I don't know what to do. And so right before the song, I don't know where the strength came from. Right before, I walk up to the passenger rear wheel and grab hold of the fender and pick it up off the ground, pick the wheel up and kick the mic cord out from under the wheel, and gives me the length just in time to jump over the passenger door into the front seat, and ooh, baby, come closer to me. Oh, and I still don't know where, I guess the adrenaline was just surging through my body, and I pulled it off. So
incredible.
it's, there's so many things happen during a wacky tube show, God, it's just insane.
And obviously you're well known for that with like you say, nudity, soft porn, that sort of thing. I mean, did that cause a lot of problems with you getting bookings then in certain cities and countries?
Yes, it did. Although we kind of turned that into good, psycho press. We got banned in a number of, we got banned in Portsmouth, in England, because of a reputation. Oh, they have live sex when we never had live sex on stage. It was ridiculous. We had nudity. Yeah, we never had sex, but we had nudity. And of course that got exaggerated into, oh yeah, they have live sex. Well, it's not the Reaper Bond, I'm sorry. But a number of, mostly in the South, Charleston, South Carolina or somewhere, a bunch of cities in the South. And we actually, in San Francisco, when we started, we had a troupe of 4 dancing girls. Besides we had a troupe of 4 girls, Leela and the Snakes. And Jane Dornacker was the leader of these 3 girls, and they did like a comedy bit in little clubs in San Francisco. And we saw them and went, "Oh my God, you're so great. You're so funny. You have to be in our show." And so we enlisted them to be in our show. And 3 of the girls were strippers from Broadway. And so they thought nothing of being topless. And we used to do Tom Jones in It's Not Unusual, dancing with them topless. And in San Francisco, no holds barred. You could get away with anything pretty much. But once you left San Francisco, and you had that reputation, you couldn't be nude. You couldn't be topless. So they started wearing bras or pasties or something. And so I remember a couple of times in the beginning, we tried to get away with them being naked, but the gigs, especially in the Midwest, like Kansas and those flyover states, you don't have those in Scotland, but we call them red states, and uh, they're all, they voted for Trump, those states. But whoever it was, the city father or the city attorney or somebody would come to our show before, at sound check during the day, and they'll go, okay, look, we've heard about your reputation. You can't do nudity in our city. And if you have nudity on your stage, we're going to fine you $10,000 and, kick you out of town. And I used to meet with these people, and of course they weren't going to come to the show. They just wanted to be reassured. And so we had a body stocking, a nude body stocking. You know what that is, right?
Yeah,
like a
leotard,
leotard,
yeah.
nude leotard, and Prairie airbrushed tits on it. Tits and genitalia on the body stocking. And so I would pull this out of the box and go, look, they're wearing these airbrushed leotards. They're not really naked. They're wearing the airbrushed leotard. It's all paint. And so there won't be any nudity. We went, oh, okay, great. And so then we put the thing back in the box and they would go out topless, just like we always did. And so, we were always trying to trick. At one time we played Minneapolis, Minnesota, which is a pretty conservative city. And our reputation preceded us. And we got, during the afternoon when we were there trying to set up for the show that night, the mothers of Minneapolis decided they wanted to picket our show. And so they had a picket line out in front of the front door of the theater with big signs, bad tubes go home, and, causing a big stir. And the newsmen came and everything. Yeah. And so we thought, well, we're gonna take the piss out of this for sure. And so we got our dancers, the Leela and the Snakes, the two bets we called them. They dressed up like frumpy housewife ladies, and we made our own signs. One sign said, "No titties in the Twin Cities," and because Minneapolis, St. Paul are Twin Cities, and rude tubes. Anyway, we made up our own signs and we infiltrated them into the picket line. And then across the street, we set up a video camera and we videoed the whole time. And they're marching around, "No titties in the Twin Cities." No, and the women, the mothers from Minneapolis never caught on. We thought it was so great. And then we showed the video in the show that night.
Oh, brilliant.
And, it was so great. So many
fantastic
freak outs. I could go on and on and on.
I bet you could.